This week's Parashat Vayetzeh, we have the famous Dvar Torah of Leah and the beautiful eyes of Leah. We spoke about this idea in the past, where the famous pasuk that says Ve'enei Leah rakot, that Leah had these soft eyes, which on the surface sounds like she had these very beautiful eyes, as opposed to Rachel, which was more completely beautiful. Leah, you just looked at her eyes; they were these beautiful, beautiful eyes. But then came along the famous Rashi, and Rashi comes along and says, "Oh no, what does it mean her eyes were rakot, soft?" He's not learning it in the sense of beautiful, but rather he learns it in the sense that they were soft from crying. So it says Rashi, because she thought she was supposed to marry Esav, so she was crying. Because everyone used to say, They used to say that Rivka has two sons and Lavan has two daughters. So this is perfect shidduch material. Put the older one, put Leah with Esav, and put the younger one, Yaakov, with Rachel, and everything's going to be great. But when Leah realized, oh my God, she's going to have to marry that Rasha, that Esav, she was just crying and crying to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, that was one idea. We spoke in the past about a different idea. Why is Leah crying? Some of the Hasidic masters explain that Leah was crying because Leah is the koach of the Baal Teshuvah. While Rachel was always that perfect seminary girl who never sinned ever, Leah was the Yatzanit who went out, who had to fight the Yetzer Hara. Remember, she was supposed to be Esav's match, and Esav originally, at least according to the way Yitzchak understood it, was supposed to be the guy that goes out and fights the Yetzer Hara. Ultimately, Esav's going to fall to the Yetzer Hara, and ultimately Leah is not going to fall to her Yetzer Hara. But part of the tears, part of the crying, is part of the avodah of a person like Leah who's going to be out there in the world facing temptations, and the tears of tefillah, the tears of the Baal Teshuvah, that's going to get closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu to be able to fight that Yetzer Hara. Okay, that's what we spoke about Leah's eyes. So I was thinking, Lanu Dati, if we just back up a couple of psukim in our parasha, we have the famous meeting of Yaakov and Rachel by the well. Yaakov, who was always told you're going to marry Rachel, is looking for the family of Lavan, the family of his mother Rivka, and he's waiting by the well. And they said, "Oh, there, one of the daughters is coming right now. Rachel is coming right now." He sees Rachel, and he's so excited. And Vayishak Yaakov the Rachel. He opens up that heavy stone. He pulls it off. Beautiful romantic act, and he gives her water. Vayisad, and he gives her a kiss. Vayisad kolo, and he cries out. We have the kol Yaakov here. He's crying out. Vayef, and he cries. And the question that everybody asks is, why is he crying? All these interpretations. Why was Yaakov crying when he saw Rachel? On a simple level, he's just crying out of the joy that Hashem's prayers have been answered, with all the difficulty of running away from Esav and all that just took place in his life. But the first place he goes to, he already sees this Rachel that he'd been hearing about as a kid. This is going to be your wife. So he cries out of happiness, out of simcha, out of thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But Rashi, in his first interpretation, says something different. Why is he crying? It says Rashi, fascinating Rashi, because he saw in his divine inspiration, and it's basically like mini prophecy, in his Ruach HaKodesh, he saw that he wouldn't be buried next to Rachel. And that's why he's crying. He was realizing there's going to be a separation between him and Rachel. Rachel is going to be buried in Beit Lechem along the road, because her job is going to be to pray for the children and to be there for the children. Rachel is always about the kids, having the kids, praying for the kids. Rachel is not going to be in Marat Machpelah next to Yaakov, and that's why he's crying. He's realizing the original plan wasn't the way it was supposed to be. La'anut dati, in my humble opinion, I want to have a different idea about why he's crying right now, which goes along with this story. We mentioned in previous years that when Yaakov first buys the Bechorah, and then he steals the bracha, at that moment, Yaakov takes over the job of Esav. Esav's original job was to fight with the world, fight with the Yetzer Hara, go out there into the field, get into the dirt. He's not going to be that Yish Tam Yoshev Alim. He's not going to be that yeshiva bachar hanging out in the yeshiva anymore. He's not going to be that shepherd that has time to think. He's going to actually have to get into the world and deal with the dirty of the world. And that's why the second he gets the bracha, so now all of a sudden he has to go and work hard in the fields and the shepherding of Lavan. He has to deal with the Lavan, which in certain aspects is kind of like an Esav character. Yaakov becomes Esav, and part of becoming Esav, explain the Mefarshim, is he's going to marry Leah as well. He's going to have two wives. He's going to have two roles. On the one hand, he's going to stay Yaakov the Ishtam Yeshavu Alim, but he's also going to take on the job of Esav at the same time of trying to change the world. We have the Sur Merah Aset Tov. He's going to be doing both right now, and now his job is going to be to marry Leah and be part of that role as well. So part of this, the second he gets to this well and he sees Rachel, so he starts to cry because he realizes, oh my God, okay, part of it is still true. I'm still going to marry my Rachel, but wait a second, things are starting to change. And that's when he sees, I'm not going to be buried next to Rachel. Part of the results of taking the bracha and taking the bechorah is now you're going to marry Leah. And now when you get buried in Marat Machpelah, the wife right next to you is not going to be Rachel, it's going to be Leah. That's going to be part of your avodah right now. So I was thinking, maybe we can also say, so if we said the avodah of Leah, the avodah of the Baal Tshuva, the one who gets out there in the world, what is that avodah? What is that service? Part of it is crying. Part of it is crying. We spoke about the kol Yaakov. It says over here, he brings up Isat Bat kolo vayefk. Now you really got to cry out to God. You really got to cry. You really have to have your tefillah, and you really have to cry as well. The einei le'awar rakot. But now we're going to say now for the first time we see that Yaakov's eyes are also going to become soft because Yaakov right now has to pray and cry and cry and cry because that's part of the avodah of now marrying Leah. Shabbat shalom.